Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we are now in day 7th of the 5-star Grand Prix by Stardom. As you know, certain wrestlers have been already out, but however, we continue with more, and this time they're in Osaka. So we're going to focus mostly on the Blue Star A and B blocks only. And then, of course, we have NXT as we saw last week. We have brand new tag champions. We have many things are taking place. We even have a gauntlet match. Who will be the ones to face, of course, Roxanne Perez at No Mercy, and of course a triple threat match who will face Ethan Page at No Mercy for the NXT Championship. So there's a lot of things that are going to be happening on both sides. But first things first, as you all know, I'm way behind on the ChocoPro shows, so we're going to cover all 3 of them. So we got 386, 387, and 388. I'm sure there are a lot of fun matches on those, but we're going to review every last one from start to finish. And then, of course, we're going to cap up our episode with some news updates to keep you guys updated what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We, of course, got the real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, I believe it's time to get the show on the road. So let's begin with our very first ChocoPro review, and this is number 386. Okay, so I think it's been almost less than a month since I reviewed one of these, and I'm sorry that I haven't been keeping track of it. I've been keeping up with the other things, but nonetheless, let's get started. So this is number 386. We have Mei Shruga, who in fact opened up the show, and of course gave the lowdown of the event, who's in what matches. But it started out with, of course, her being the referee for the exhibition match with the trainee Kaho taking on Emi Sakura. Now, we have seen her already in this match before, but unfortunately, she did not pick up the win. She ended up losing again with only one pin that Emi Sakura was able to pull off. But nonetheless, we know she'll develop growth and she'll get better and better in her wrestling development. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Our first official match, we have Hiroyi Yawara and Nonoka Seto being attacked by both Masahiro Takanashi and Emi Sakura. I can only guess that these guys are still in a bad mood after losing the Asian Dream Tag Team titles to Mizuki and Saki, which is totally understandable, but it doesn't give them the right to go out of their way to beat up everybody else just because they're pissed. But however, unfortunately, this match did not go entirely for Hiroyi and Nonoka's way due to the fact that Hiroyi ended up in a submission, all thanks to Emi Sakura, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, we have singles competition. We have Ire Kane. She takes on Tokiko Kirihara. Now, we know these two have developed some great relationship in and out of the ring. As you guys know, these ladies are in their 40s. Kane, she is 40, and Tokiko, she is 47. So they basically have the same kind of thing. So it would make sense to put her through the test on that, because we know that Tokiko has been in an amazing shape, not to mention she does have some striking capability and submission capability as well, which of course wasn't handy for her when she put Kana in a somewhat of an armbar and forced her to give up, and that's exactly what took place. Excuse me. Anyway, our main event, we have of course Sayaka, Chiko Shikawa, and Sayaka Obihiro, better known as Obi. They face Miya Yatsuba and the Best Bros. So this is going to be a good challenge for everyone because A, we know that she and has been close with both Obi and Sayaka on certain occasions. You know, either when they're together as a team, either trios or tag team, it doesn't matter. But however, they're facing against, of course, the Best Bros, one of the best tag teams in ChocoPro. But the real question is how this was going to end. Well, Miya could have picked up a good win, but unfortunately that wasn't the case because it was Sayaka who pinned Miya, allowing for her and her team to pick up the win. Now for our Junkin tournament, well, we had a very interesting development in this one. It was Chiko Shikawa who won the Junkin tournament, so as always, she's as cocky as always when she takes the Junkin tournament way too serious. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good show. Real fun, not to mention. Main event is probably my favorite one. But nonetheless, it was pretty cool. So I think we're done with 386. Let's move on with 387. Okay, we continue with more ChocoPro number 387. Now, as always, we have Balin Aki this time opening up the show. Basically, same old thing, you know, the what matches are happening. But as always, we do have the exhibition match this time. So we have Kaho facing off Emi Sakura. But unfortunately, much like the last time, and the last before that, well, Kaho still loses. But I did mention, we know that she'll grow up eventually. She will develop herself and her wrestling craft as we go. But we will stay close to that. But yes. Now, our next match, we have Natsumi Mochi and Shonchiru taking on, once again, the temper tantrums of Masahiro Takanashi and Emi Sakura. So there was a lot of things. But however, you know that Shonchiru, he has a bit of some tricks up his sleeve. But however, none of those tricks work. Of course, Mochi Natsumi has the whip, which is obviously, unless the referee doesn't catch you, then, you know, you'll be fine. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But it was, in fact, a double pinfall by both Masa and Emi to pick up the win onto Natsumi, allowing for them to pick up the win. So that's how it ended right there. Now, our next match, we have Mei Suruga versus Trans Am Hiroshi. Now, those who know Trans Am, he is not your typical type wrestler you want to deal with. He is the kind of guy who can confuse you in the ring, knowing too well that he sings too much. You know, he sings whatever comes into mind. I mean, my favorite moment of him singing is when he did We Will Rock You during a ChocoPro show. But, however, basically Mei Suruga tried to avoid him, but that did not well. But I think Mei Suruga made the biggest mistake because she used the apple, a stuffed apple, in her way, and she accidentally hit a referee played by Emi Sakura, and all of a sudden, well, the match was disqualified in favor of Mei Suruga, not because she hit the referee, well, it's because what's his name? He keeps dodging the hits, and of course, Emi Sakura destroyed the stuffed apple. She was crying, and Kaho felt bad for her, and she gave her a hug. I don't know. I have that distinct feeling that Kaho is gonna turn up just like Meishu. She's gonna be like the little twin sister who is gonna follow in her footsteps. I mean, I wonder what Balinaki would think of that, because he has to put up with her BS every single time. But nonetheless, we'll just wait and see. Main event, we have Chiko Shikawa and Obi teaming up. This time they face Sayaka and Minoru Fujita. Now, of course, I decided to go with Obi's nickname due to the fact because we have two Sayakas in the match, but opposite side of each other. So we're just going to go with Obi, just to make that clear for everyone. But the match was okay in some capacity. But, however, it was Obi who picked up the win on Sayaka by using the Obi Magic, I believe. And just like that, it was over. Next up, we have the Jonkin Tournament, which was pretty fun. We did see some Best Bros Showdown. Balin proceeded, of course. Then it was Chonchita who actually made it all the way through to the finals and won the chocolate. So we just end things like that with them, and it was real fun. So let's move on with our last ChocoPro, which is number 388. Our last ChocoPro show to review, number 388. We have Balin Aki open up the show, give the info on the matches, but the added bonus, there is no exhibition match. I think they wanted to give Kaho a break. I'm not sure because I think she's still in school or so. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, we didn't have to waste time on that. But let's start with our first match. As you know, we have the combine of Obi and, of course, Chiko Shikawa. This time they face Mei Suruga and Hiroyi. The match was okay. I'm sure that Hiroyi is looking her place to step up, but unfortunately that wasn't the case because she ended up in the wrong side of the stretch muffler by Chi, one of Chi's dominating submissions she used, and unfortunately that match ended with her tapping out, giving, of course, Obi and Chi the win. But of course, Balinaki does have to perceive that they are now becoming a very strong tag team. There's no doubt in my mind they could be the next challengers for the Asian Dream Tag Team titles. So we will see when that day comes. Next up, we have, well, another bit of a master versus student. Sayaka and Emi Sakura. Now, don't forget, I mentioned certain wrestlers were trained under Emi Sakura, and this is one of them. Like wrestlers that we have like Miya, Yotsuba, Nonaka Seto, Hiroyi, Irikane, and possibly Kanho. They're not truly trained with Emi since, of course, Emi's been living in the States for a long time. But however, they have developed a lot of growth. Certain wrestlers like Miya and Nanaka, we have seen them have developed it, but we will see more of them. But however, Sayaka has grown up as well. But you can say that there's a lot of how Sayaka can bring a bit of the aggressiveness, but that doesn't change anything with Emi, who is the master of it. However, Emi Sakura got away with it by using Mei Suruga as a referee, or who was a referee, to use her in her advantage to pick up the win, which of course people were booing Mei for what she did. And of course, Sayaka said something that kind of made her cry, realizing that she did not anticipate that this was going to happen. Well, because everybody knows that Mei Suruga's a bit predictable when it comes to trying to pick up the wins. But yes. Next up, we have, of course, Antonio Honda and Shota teaming up. They face against CDK's Masahiro Takanashi and Chris Brooks. Now, there was a moment where our referee, Chi, was in fact being distracted by Masa while Chris was choking Honda with the shirt. But however, that did not stop there. But unfortunately, this match ended with both Shota and Honda being pinned by both men in a double pinfall type of maneuver. And just like that, it was won. Now, for our jogging tournament, I wasn't too sure how this was going to end either. But however, this match ended with Shota winning the chocolate. So I'm not sure if this was his first time being in the jogging tournament, but I'm happy for him that he participated. And I think that's pretty much it, what we have for all of our ChocoPro shows. So next up we have is Stardom. Okay, Stardom. This is day 7 of the 5-star Grand Prix. We're almost finishing up, and we are only going to focus on the Blue Stars A and B blocks only. Now, if you guys want to know where where they're at is in Osaka. Now, let's begin with the first match, and this is from the Blue Star A. We have Anna Jay and Miyu Amasaki. Now, these two ladies, as you know, they have developed strong, good matches, but however, after that, they haven't. Now, I'm not sure how their status are as we speak in the tournament is. So, this one ends with Anna Jay applying the Queen Slayer onto Amasaki, giving her her next 2 points with the total of 4. But as I said before, we don't know how far their status are. But because I can see one particular person will get the higher up in the block, and we'll get to that. Now, our next match, we jump into the Blue Stars B block. We have Risa Sera versus Rana Yagami. Now, Rana Yagami, as you know, pulled up a good win against Saki Kashima, but I don't have to say it's one of the greatest ones. I'm sure that there will be some good matches along the way where she can improve on herself. But when it comes to Risa Sera, you all know her reputation. She is one of the most interesting deathmatch wrestlers you've seen. That's why she was given the title as the Deathmatch Queen. However, she did pick up the win when she applied the air raid crash, and just like that, it was completely over. But she gets 2 points on this one, and she ends it up with the total of 6, while Rana Yagami remains at 2. Next up, we got the Bear, Koguma, versus Shuri. Now, you probably would think, okay, Koguma will be in her usual shenanigans. Last time these two faced off each other, I remember at this 1-star Grand Prix, she ran from her, and of course Shuri was really fast. I mean, I was surprised that she was able to keep up with the Bear, but she did. But unfortunately, Shuri had this match won, but Koguma somehow outsmarted her by pinning and getting her next 2 points, and right now both of them are tied at 4. So basically, now, as I said, I don't know how their status are in this tournament, but we will see how that rolls up. Now, this one is my absolute favorite, and this is in the Blue Star B block. We have Saya Kamitani versus Saki Kashima. Now, why is it my favorite one? I'll tell you why. Saki Kashima made it very perfectly clear not too long ago that she's not going to run from hate. Now, as you know, 2 reasons why. One, she hasn't forgotten last year Natsuko Tora somehow concocted a plan to get rid of her after the loss in that steel cage match against Queen's Quest. And 2, Konami betraying Shuri in order to rejoin Odotai, now known as Hate. So, however, of course, I know Saki Kashima has proven her loyalty to Shuri, and this time she's not playing any games. Now, as you probably remember, she's always in the entire tournament promoting her pachinko machines and whatnot. But this time she did not do that. But the biggest problem was Kamitani. Her problem, she decided, is that she let her guard down. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, she messed up. She did not take Kashima seriously. She decided just to toy with her, but she did not take her seriously until it was too late. And that was what made her lose her match. So basically, Kashima applied the Kishikase, and just like that, it's over. Basically, Kashima wins her next 2 points with a total of 6, while Kamitani remains at 4. However, she did a promo, and not to mention with her usual shenanigans, she promoted another game or whatever. But nonetheless, Kamitani, I'm sure this one's gonna bite her in the ass for not taking her seriously. But that's her own damn fault. Now, next up is the Blue Stars B block. These two ladies know each other too well, back from their Ice Ribbon days. We're talking about Tekla and Suzuki. Now, of course, you all know this history. Tekla left Ice Ribbon to join up with Julia to be part of Donna de Mondo, better known as DDM, and as Zuzu, she became a was part of Prominence and left Ice Ribbon to be a freelancer, but now she's a full-time wrestler in Stardom. However, you would think clearly that this match is going to be very, very different. However, Tekla I don't know exactly what happened, but she completely lost the match when, of course, Zuzu applied the tequila shot, and just like that, it was over. But nonetheless, of course, Zuzu asked her what the hell happened to her. But of course, Tekla knows she's not an idol. So I don't know if she's offering her to join Hate because she's not an idol. I don't think it matters to Zuzu. I mean, the only reason she's part with Starlight Kid, Mei Seita, Imi Yamasaki, and Azumi, they're all part of the same generation. So basically, it's kind of like Generation Me type, but a real fun group. But nonetheless, they are proving themselves what they're worth. But I'm sure Tekla is hoping that Zuzu just wake up from this stupid group that she formed with Starlight Kid and Mei Seita and just join a real team. But I highly doubt that. I mean, I'm sure she'll think of her that she's an idiot, but Tekla thinks of her as an idiot as well. But nonetheless, that's how it rolls up. Main event, we have the Blue Stars A. This is our main event. Xena versus Sayuri Onoi. Now, Xena, we cannot deny that she has been very impressive throughout the entire tournament. However, Sayuri Onoi, as you know, she is one of the most best, well-decorated wrestlers we have always watched, But she was able to pick up the win when she applied the powdering, and just like that, she's in. However, she is in the lead in her block in the Blue Stars A with a total of 7 points. Now, for the Blue Star B, we have a bit of a tie between Risa Sera and Saki Kashima. So one of those two have to break up the tie, but we will see. We only have 2 matches left from both sides, but until then, we will see what happens. We'll end things here with Stardom and move on with our last and final review, NXT. Okay, NXT. As you know, we're now in the road to No Mercy, so what's going to happen before then? Well, let's find out. Now, as you know, we have the #1 contender in a Gauntlet match for the women's NXT title. Now, before anything of that started, Carmen Petrovic was arriving until she was viciously attacked by Izzy Dame. Now, if you're probably wondering why she did it, I'll tell you why. Izzy Dame was not chosen out of the 6 women out of that little turn thing that they were doing, so she took her frustrations out on Carmen, feeling that she had no right to be there, that she didn't deserve the spot. However, later there was an update coming from Ava saying that she will not be out, but Izzy Dame tried to weasel her way in, but however, that did not happen in her favor. So Ava decided to give Brinley Reese the opportunity instead, and of course this pissed off Izzy Dame. So basically she will be in that match. Now, as you all know, the main event from last week features the NXT Tag Team titles on the line. Rich Holland and Professor Chase teamed up to face against the champions at that time, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and they were able to successfully win those matches. So Chase, you were celebrating, knowing they accomplished their mission. However, it's no secret when it comes to champions losing their belts, they will do whatever it takes to get them back. So of course, they say they may have lost to them, but they're not a much higher tag team than they normally would say. However, Rich Holland wasn't going to allow them to dictate them about that. And of course, Duke Hudson and Riley Osborne decided to say, if you want a shot of those titles at No Mercy, you go through us instead. Instead of waiting later on in the day, they decided, let's get started. So they pulled out their pants, and they were already in their ring gear. Now the match was pretty good, I have to say. It showed up a really strong storyline, but unfortunately that match ended, of course, with the combination of Brainbuster and Golden Ratio on Riley Osborne. However, of course, now it says that Nathan Frazier and Axiom will get another opportunity of the tag team titles. So we'll see where that leads. Now, Wendy Chu, as you know, recently she's been going a little psycho in recent time, not to mention stalking Kalani Jordan and all this and that. So she faces against Lola Vice, and things have become chaotic. But however, we did see Kalani Jordan try to intervene, and she accidentally got backfist by Lola. But however, of course, Wendy Chu whacked Lola Vice with the pillow, which was kind of unusual. And then all of a sudden, she pinned her, and just like that, it was over. So Kalani Jordan said that she'll give her that title shot at No Mercy, I believe. And of course, she attacked her, but that's when the truth revealed. It was kind of strange that Lola Vice was taken out by a pillow. Well, it turns out that Wendy Chu stole the NXT Women's North American title. So that's how it rolls up. Now, ahead of the upcoming three-way match, Wesley says that he is prepared to win. He doesn't consider thinking that neither, of course, Pete Dunne has what it takes to win. Neither does Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry saying that, he will win it no matter what it takes. So we will see what happens until we get to that. Now, as you know, recently we've been seeing Jay-Z Jane and Fallon Henley. They in fact have formed a faction within NXT along with Jasmine Nix, calling themselves a Fatal Influence, believing that the younger rookie ones, the ones who in fact came from the other way instead of the independents, were able to get better positions as winning championships and whatnot. So they're sending a direct message to them, calling themselves the Fatal Influence. Now, I don't know if that's a good name, but that's how they're sticking with it. Now, let's jump into the Gauntlet match. We have Ren Sinclair, Soruka, Andrea Rizzo, Brinley Reese, and Carly Bright, and of course, Jada Parker. Now, completely lost in the shuffle who actually lost in the order, but however, it was Jada Parker that picked up the win when she took out Carly Bright, and just like that, she was going to, of course, No Mercy. Now, I don't know what Roxanne Perez would think, but I'm sure Roxanne Perez thinks that she is not in her level. So we will see what happens. Now, Ethan Page, as you know, had an interview, and he doesn't think that Joe Hendry is the right fit to challenge him. I don't think he wants either one, but Pete Dunne wants to prove him wrong, but we will see what happens. Now, our next match, this was a little payback for that little Great American Bash barbecue, Tank Ledger and the OC. So you wouldn't expect something like this was going to happen, but it was a major upset. I did not anticipate this, neither would you, because they managed to defeat the OC when they put down a power slam onto Carl Anderson, and they picked up the win. And of course, you see Tank and Hank celebrating in the commentary booth, and here comes security guards, and they were happy for Tank because they won. However, they were protecting them from the OC. So basically, Hank has a lot of pull as security. Now, Shawn Spears, as you know, has a new protege, which is Brooks Jensen. But however, Malik Blade and Edris Enofe believe that they manipulated him to turn against Josh Briggs. But Spears was saying, I didn't need to manipulate him. So basically, they don't believe his brand of Kool-Aid, and they attacked him. But Spears was laughing because that's exactly what he wanted. Basically, he wanted to show them that no matter what they do to him, nothing is going to be coming true on their part. But we will see where that goes. Now, a very interesting thing, those who know this, I'm a music fanatic. I love metal music, all kinds of metal, like thrash, prog metal, speed metal, power metal, that sort of thing. Ava, our general manager, Ava Raines, was invited to see Slipknot. Yeah, I love Slipknot. So I actually saw them twice in my life, but they're awesome group. So just putting it out there. Now, No Quarter Catch Crew went out to do a promo. However, Ren Sinclair took the reins as always. I don't know what the hell she's trying to do. She called out Obafemi for the North American title, but so did, of course, D'Angelo comes out. Basically everybody's gunning for the North American title now. So that's kind of interesting that they're thinking the same thing. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, I don't know. This little thing happened before. As you know, Ashante D and Adonis will be in a match against Daniel Lixon, but the ladies took their sights on Dion Lennox. And of course, Adonis did not like that. And then, of course, Javon Evans was there. And then all of a sudden, Gallus showed up. As you know, Gallus are trying to put the rookies in their place. But Cedric Alexander showed up into his defense. So we'll see what happens next week. Now, our match between Dion Lennox and, of course, Adonis, Ashante D Adonis, it ended with, of course, with Adonis winning the match when he applied the super kick, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, while the Lexus King was getting his throne fixed up, he was talking to Lash Legend and Jakar Axel while they were talking about certain things, and then, of course, you know, he was like saying that all this high and mighty sort of thing, and they weren't going to have it. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event is the number one contenders in a three-way match for the NXT Championship: Wes Lee versus Pete Dunne versus Joe Hendry. The match was pretty crazy. I mean, I wouldn't expect a whole lot. But however, I'm going to skip to part of the end where Joe Hendry had this match won, but Ethan Page pulled the ref and tried to involve themselves. Now, a second ref did show up, but Ethan Page was trying to prevent them. Pete Dunne had this match won, but out of nowhere, Trick Williams actually took out Pete Dunne, and that gave for Joe Hendry to pick up the win. 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And this is, I think, the last thing that Ethan Page wanted. I don't think he expected it. I don't think he wanted it, but he probably has to be more careful than he ever was before. Now, Wes Lee may have not got what he wanted, but we saw Zachary Wentz showed up and attacked them. So no one expected that. So we probably will see those two at No Mercy. So I'm excited for that. I hope everybody else is excited. So I think we're done with all of our reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions themselves. Majority of it right now is from GCW. Now, as you know, this coming week we have, of course, the Homecoming in Atlantic City. So night one will feature, of course, a very interesting match. We have Ultramantis Black. He takes on, he's very nice and very evil, Danhausen. So I have to say that's going to be a real interesting match to watch. And of course, on the 14th of September in Detroit for Bad One, Danhausen will be participating in that event. And then, of course, we have the G Code on the 15th in Rochester, New York. Man Like Darius will be there as well to participate. And then finally, the back-to-back on the 21st in Hartford, Connecticut. Richard Holiday has also been scheduled to be there. Now, as you know, we got the Roseland on the 20th of September, no, 29th, between Deadlock Pro Wrestling, Prestige Wrestling, and West Coast Pro. They announced for the DPW World Championship defendant. Calvin Newman defends his belt against someone you guys know all too well, Donovan Dijak, or as known Dijak, or Dominic Dijakovic. So that's pretty much what we have for our upcoming events. Now let's move on with our only development. Now, as you know, we've been seeing NXT talent appearing in TNA, or TNA talent appearing in NXT. However, it was later foretold by PW Insider, Rosemary will be making her debut in NXT. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. So I'm excited to see that. Hope you guys too So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. So let's just call it a day. All right. I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we are now in AEW will be on the far side of the Atlantic, across the pond for AEW All In. But however, they make their debut in Cardiff, so I'm excited for that. I'm sure everybody else is that. Now I haven't decided yet if what other I'm going to review, but I do know recently there is another ChocoPro show, number 389. I may consider doing that, but we'll just wait and see. But for now, we'll leave things as it is and just keep AEW as the primary. But as a moment, we'll leave things as it is. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.